Alright everyone, I'm along Thika Road, just next to Kasarani Stadium, and I'll be branching off a few meters ahead. There is a link road here that connects Thika Superhighway and a place called Babadogo. Here is the road on my left. Of course, I never knew it existed. I thought if you wanted to go to Babadogo, there was only one route, and that is you branch off at Allsops. But here we are, and today I want to take you to a place called Lakisama, which is just next to Babadogo. Of course, we'll be getting there in less than a minute. And if you have noted, it's not far from Kasarani. Actually, this is Kasarani Stadium on my left, which is actually the biggest stadium in the country, built in the 80s by President Moi. That's why you see a good number of joggers around. And of course, after this corner, you'll be able to see Lakisama, which is on the other side of the river. But before then, it seems like we'll have to work our way out of this heavy traffic jam. Goats in the city. There must be more than 100, I tell you. And how do they manage to feed all these goats in the city? Well, that's a story for another day, but I can freely tell you that these are cool millionaires. Just do a quick math. Assume that each goat is worth around 7,000 Kenya shillings or 8,000, and there are more than 100. I tell you, you can easily secure $1 million just from selling goats. Well, I can see Lakisama on the other side of the river. That's our destination. I hope you can see a small civilization ahead. And I'm told that this is the Ruaka River. If you've been to Ruaka, this is the river that passes near Two Rivers Mall, which is the biggest mall in East and Central Africa. In fact, this is one of the two rivers that the mall is named after. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lakisama. We're gonna go around this neighborhood and see how people live. Gonna also see how businesses are faring. It's not that big in terms of size. In fact, I'm informed that it's about 1.7 kilometers squared, but of course it's densely populated, as you can see. In fact, there are 30,373 people living in a square kilometer. That's according to the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics. For the total population, Lakisama has 50,885 people, and out of these, 24,992 are men, while 25,873 are women. It's a pretty nice gender distribution right there, almost equal. And in terms of the household, there are 15,246 households. It's a beautiful neighborhood. In fact, I'm trying to get into the interior part of it. And so far, so good. And remember, Lakisama is a word by itself, although it's part of Babadogo location. And so it neighbors Babadogo Estate. It's not far from here. There are other areas, such as Kasabuni. And speaking of Kasabuni, that reminds me of one Kenyan rapper that goes by the name Timitidat. He would always shout the name Kasabuni as part of intro to his songs. Well, that's actually a neighborhood next to Lakisama. Other neighboring hoods include Dandora and the slums of Gomongo and Korogocho. Administratively, this is part of Ruaraka constituency, which is led by one TJ Kajwang, quite a vocal politician, and I know him for having two brothers in politics, one who is Moses Otieno Kajwang, the current senator of Homa Bay County, and the other one is the legend himself, the late Otieno Kajwang, who served as the cabinet secretary during President Kibaki's regime. But few years ago, this was part of the Kasarani constituency. In fact, it was split in 2010, giving birth to Ruaraka constituency. but it is still part of the larger Kasarani sub-county. I'll be giving you numbers in a few. You can see the roads are quite narrow, but it seems like the county's dump truck is already collecting waste, which of course will be taken to Dandora dump site. It is not far from here. In fact, I'm told it is the biggest dump site in the city. Someday I'll take you there, since there's a lot of activities that goes down there. In fact, there are hundreds of families that live off the waste. I'm told that in the city, waste is money. So there's a lot to see there. Someday I'll take you. But in the meantime, let's enjoy Lucky Summer. It's a beautiful evening. It's around 6 in the PM. The sun is setting. Although it's a cold day, it's mid-July here in the suburbs of Nairobi city. And in terms of the infrastructure, the road is not that bad, although there are potholes here and there, a few of them. And I want to take you to the real estate segment so that you can do your maths and see whether you can afford to buy land here or at least rent. I can assure you that most people here prefer to rent houses than owning homes, since it's quite expensive. We are in Nairobi city. In fact, I saw a 40 by 80 piece of land going for up to 20 million Kenya shillings. That's not even an eighth of an acre. An eighth is about 50 by 100. And a good thing about these places is that almost every plot is commercially viable. You can see almost part of the hood is urban, and that means you can build rentals like everybody else, which of course will make you good returns, as houses here are in high demand. Nairobi city is not far from here. In fact, it's about 11 kilometers. That means that a lot of people choose to live here as they work in the city. And the rent prices vary significantly. As you have noted, there are houses that are near the main road, but others are deep in the hood. In fact, I have been driving for about 5 minutes since I left the main road. And as you can see, apartments are still in plenty. Also, there are houses that are next to the river, which is on my left, and those houses tend to be cheap than this one, which are along the main road. And to get a 2-bedroom apartment, a nice one, you need between 15,000 Kenya shillings and 30,000 Kenya shillings, depending on the house condition and distance from the main road. That's about between $130 and 170 per month. And to get a nice bed sitter or a studio apartment, you need an average of 9,000 Kenya shillings, which is about $70 per month. And so it all depends on how deep are your pockets. And as you can see, businesses are doing quite well, especially the small scale one. And of course, that is a privilege that comes with high population. And I want to give you some statistics about the Kasarani sub-county, which is where Lucky Summer is located. There are some interesting numbers here, and one of them is the highest level of education attained. Remember, the sub-county covers the entire Kasarani, Ruaraka, and Roysambu constituencies, which are 3 constituencies out of the 17 constituencies in Nairobi. And out of the 3.7 million Nairobians who have attained the age of going to school, 679,000 are here. And out of this number, 63,562 have university degrees, which is quite recommendable. It's about 10% of the total population. 98,786 have technical and vocational training colleges courses. That's almost 15% of the total population. 225,859 have high school diplomas but never went further, while 218,299 people never went beyond primary school, while primary dropouts are only 20,778. That's quite interesting numbers right there from the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics. And another thing that has caught my attention about the highest level of education attained is that only 81 people who have gone to adult basic education, or commonly known as Gumbaru school, and 44 of them are females, while 37 are men. Well, to be honest, I didn't know that such schools still exist, and I can see that in the entire Nairobi County, a total of 196 people have gone through such schools. Well, check this out. Out of the 679,000 people who have attained the age of going to school, 49,291 have not gone through any formal education system. That's about 8% of the total population, which is, we can say it's illiterate, for lack of a better word. But it's clear the sub-county has one of the highest educated population in the city. Well, I can see that the road does not go beyond that point, so we have to turn around. And it seems like almost every plot is developed. There are no empty spaces here. And the population is quite huge, which is common in most big cities. And remember, Lakisama is the least populated ward in Ruaraka constituency. It has 5 of them. Mathare North is the most populated with a population of 53,658. And the funniest thing is that it is sit on the smallest area of about 0.5 kilometers squared. That's about 150 acres of land hosting 53,000 people. Of course, I will take you there someday. The second most populated ward in this constituency is Korogocho, and this is actually a slum with a total population of 41,946 and sit on an area of 0.9 kilometers squared, followed by Utalii with 36,000 and Babadogo respectively with a total population of 30,741 living in an area of about 1.95 kilometers squared. There's something quite interesting about Babadogo. I think I'll have to visit it next. I'm told it's half industrial and half residential area. In fact, some of the biggest industries in the country, such as Chandaria, are there. And funny enough is that it's just a walking distance from here. In fact, I plan to end this video in Babadogo, so stick to the end. But in the meantime, kindly assist me to know why this neighborhood was named Lakisama. Quite a fancy name. In fact, it's an English name, which is not common, as most neighborhoods in Nairobi have African names. So if you come from this hood, or you know a thing or two about this place, kindly share on the comment section down below, and we will appreciate. It is also good to know that Kasarani sub-county is one of the most populated areas in Nairobi County, as out of the 4.3 million Nairobians, 780,656 people live here. That's a significant increase, as 10 years ago, the population was only 525,000. Well, in terms of the population density, there are 9,056 people living in a square kilometer, while the annual population change is 4% per year. Well, in terms of the gender distribution in the sub-county, 51.2% are women, while the male population is 48.8%, which is a bit low, but we can say it's normal. There's nothing peculiar about it, since in terms of the numbers, men are 381,000, while the females are 399,000. And so there's a difference of about 8,000 in favor of women. And regarding the intersex, there are only 37 in the sub-county. Another interesting thing I found about the numbers in this area is on age distribution, as out of the almost 1 million people living here, only 7,000 are aged 65 and above. Well, that's quite disturbing if you think about it deeply for a minute, as that's about 1% of the total population. That percentage is a bit low, and it goes beyond. For instance, for those aged 90 and above are only 229 in the entire sub-county, while those aged between 50 and 59 are 29,000. The median age in this area are those aged between 20 and 29, as the numbers 212,331. Well, let me leave it at that. Sometimes I get carried away by the numbers, but you know they don't lie. They give a story that no one will ever do about a place and people. And please continue watching the video until the end. I will stop at Babadogo stage. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, Village to Town TV, a channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent of Africa. Also, kindly like the video so that it can be recommended to as many people as possible, and smash the notification bell so that every time we post, you'll be among the first few people to be notified. Also, keep the conversation going down on the comment section below. Tell us, what do you think about Lakisama? Will you consider living here? You can also suggest areas that we should bring next. And before I forget, I'm super thankful to Team Village to Town TV, those who view and like every video, while others are sending all kind of support. In fact, some take their time to call me. I really appreciate the love. It's just that I can't name all of you because the list is long. Thank you.